All right, welcome to JB&A today. I'm your host, Nick Smith. We're continuing our run up to NAB, and we're excited to have in studio with us today Mike Polkinghorn from Mellanox Technologies. Now, Mike, what's your official title with the company?
Official title is Channel Account Manager for the Northwest.
Nice. Okay, so a good chunk of land, because that's where we're at, so that works out good for us.
Right, yep.
Nice, we like it. Okay, now before we get into the technology, the nerdy bits, the fun pieces, I want to know, what was the first piece of technology you bought with your own money?
First piece of technology I bought with my own money was in the early to mid 1980s. It was a Sony Walkman.
Nice.
And that was, I thought I was cool having that.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was.
Come on.
Yep.
Okay, so what was the first tape you put in it?
Oh, I think it was, Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Nice.
Yep.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
All right. That's good. That's good. All right. So Mellanox. Now, if somebody didn't know Mellanox, explain it in a nutshell for them.
Yeah. So Mellanox, about $800 million in annual sales. We're founded in 1999. We're actually based headquarters is out of Israel, 2,400 employees. But we have a large location in Sunnyvale where there's about 1,000 people. We're one of the leaders in networking, cash cow for the company, and what we're best known for is InfiniBand. About 5 years ago, we took the technology that we had developed with InfiniBand, and it developed into Ethernet. And so we have a very strong Ethernet portfolio of switches. We also have interconnect cables and adapters that go with the total solution.
Now, and really, what we're sort of kind of leaning on you guys is in that Ethernet space.
Correct. Yes.
And within that, I mean, I see a lot of 10 gig coming into the market right now. Everybody's got a switch, and everybody's got a couple 10 gig ports. You guys have taken it way beyond that with now 25, 10, 40, 50, and even 100.
Correct.
And then now I'm told there's bigger.
Yeah. And on the horizon later in 2018, early 2019, is 200 gig InfiniBand and Ethernet. I mean, we look at 10 gig is, well, 25 is the new 10 gig. And Mellanox technology, with our relationships with major server OEMs being Dell, HP, Lenovo, and even server manufacturers such as Supermicro, they have our ASIC on their motherboard, or they're incorporating a custom form factor card so we're about 80% market share with those server manufacturers with 25 gig.
So people are using it, they probably just don't know it.
That's correct.
They're not aware of your brand because they're not opening up their box to look at the chip inside.
Correct.
So you're powering their workflows already, but now you've got an amazing list of switches that people can power their workflows even bigger.
That's correct. Yeah.
I think we're really excited about switches like the 2100 series that has 100 gig ports that can be split out into 10 gig ports, and it really allows a very small switch to cover a very wide workflow with a lot of workstations.
Well, when I was doing it, and we see that as well, and even talking to your folks today during the training, and when we talk out in the field talking to customers don't think they need 100 gig today. And that may be true.
I didn't think I needed 10 gig yesterday, but now I wish I had 25.
Absolutely. But we can show them that for the cost of a 100 gig switch today is at or below what some of our competitors have 40 gig switches. And by using breakout cables, they can take that 100 gig port and break it out to 425s today, break it out to 250s today. But in a year, when they didn't think a year earlier that they needed 100 gig, all they're doing is pulling cables and buying the specific cables that they need, whether it's 425s to 250s or take out the 250s and go to a direct 100. Mellanox gives them a very good way of doing that at a very good value.
So it's really about buying into the future of
Yes.
where data is going to go and protecting that investment and being forward compatible, right? It's knowing
Absolutely.
that you're buying into an infrastructure that's going to carry you forward a really long time.
Absolutely, and because we have a switch line that is 40 gig as well, and a lot of customers come to us saying we want your 40 gig, whether it's a 2100 model 2100B, which is a 40 gig, and say, you know what, let us show you, let's provide you with a bid for 100 gig as well. They really look at it, and there's very few that don't buy up for the sheer fact that they're kind of future-proofing.
Yeah.
Whether they need it today, they will need it tomorrow. I mean, in the media and entertainment space, we're talking 4K, okay? We know 8K is there, and will be out there. And then there's even buzz around 12K. Well, you probably need 200 gig for some of that. In a few years down, we're coming out with that as well.
I mean, the good thing is you'll always have a switch that's faster than your storage.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's necessity, because that's a word people skimp sometimes and then blame their storage. My storage is fast. It's not your storage, it's your switch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then there's other emerging technologies, with AI and VR and AR and all these other things that are consume a lot of data and even more data streams. And knowing that your switch is there to maintain that is really good.
And we're involved in a lot of those AI projects with the major companies that we really can't mention their names, but millions of dollars worth of equipment of ours going into these internal AI labs. It's very incredible. It really is.
Okay, so stepping outside of Mellanox for a minute, what technology are you seeing from the outside that is most exciting to you right now?
In the technology industry?
Yeah.
So my background is storage. And I was with Emulex, I've been with QLogic, and it was, EMC storage, Hitachi data center storage. It was, the big disks, the racks. And now with software-defined storage, some of the Nutanix stuff, I find exciting. From the sales side, I don't necessarily understand all the inner workings of it, but there's definitely a buzz out there. And Mellanox has a good play in that environment. So I would have to say software-defined storage.
Yeah.
On that.
Oh, it's a really interesting proposition. Bringing that, and of course for you guys, it's great because they're going to need good switches at the top of the rack to handle that.
Absolutely, and fast switches and low latency switches, and we fit right into that category. That's
amazing. All right, so NAB is coming up. I'm really excited because you guys are going to be joining us at the SLS. People are going to be able to see the switches, see them, some interesting workflows and how they can start to build better, faster systems.
Right.
So it's going to be a great year. So really happy to have you guys with us. Really happy to have you on the show. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
So folks, we're going to see them in Vegas at the SLS. The dates and details are in the show notes. Make sure you see those. Other than that, we will see you in Vegas. Mike, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.